Inmates escaped around midnight.
This incident has once again highlighted the critical need for repairs and upgrades to our facilities, particularly to ensure that doors and locks are fully functional.
Orleans Parish Sheriff Susan Hudson.
We know that folks are normally locked down in this facility at 10:30 p.m., but these folks that were able to get out did so because of defective locks on the cells.
Adding she has repeatedly warned about those locks, but she also says escape wasn't possible without help. So far, one inmate has been captured. The House Budget Committee plans a revote Sunday night on the big, beautiful bill to advance the president's agenda after it failed to pass that committee today, with 5 Republicans voting against it.
House Budget Committee Chairman Jody Arrington actually argues that today's failed vote helps. He called it a catalyst to figure out where the problems are and how to resolve them.
So calling the vote again provides, I think, a greater weight and gravity to the moment. It's a catalyst to moving things forward, and it provides clarity, real clarity with respect to where the rub is, where the pain points are, so that you can get to work to resolve it.
Arrington would not give specifics about the issues, but some conservatives demand more spending cuts. They also want work mandates for Medicaid to kick in sooner.
Fox's Chad Pergram on the Hill. President Trump says failure to extend the 2017 tax cuts will amount to a massive tax increase. Just getting word the U.S. Supreme Court has rejected a Trump bid to quickly resume deportations of Venezuelans under an 18th century wartime law. Stocks finish higher, the Dow up 331 at the bell. And Lisa Brady, Fox News.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. It's the Sleep Number Everything Smart Bed sale. Every smart bed and base are on sale during our Memorial Day event. Up to 50% off, plus free home delivery. Limited time. Exclusively to Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small, loud or quiet. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love, guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
A Florida sweep of suspects in a joint operation with federal agents.
The sheriff in Polk County, Florida, says 250 people are now under arrest for things like child trafficking, drugs, and for being illegally in the country, all part of an operation named after the popular phrase abbreviated FAFO.
As you can see, a lot of people fooled around and found out.
But Sheriff Grady Judd adds they have federal help now.
There's been a change of administration, I don't know if you noticed, in the White House. And now we are allowed to have ICE with us.
Judd adds that the operation was also aided by state child welfare contractors who were able to work with recovered victims immediately.
Fox's Evan Brown in Miami. A garage fire shuts down the airport in Jacksonville, Florida. No reports of injuries or any word yet on how the fire started, but several vehicles were destroyed and the garage may have structural damage. The airport closure leading to some flight delays. The world's largest exporter of chickens, Brazil, confirming its first outbreak of bird flu on a commercial poultry farm. Argentina's sanitation agency just ordering a suspension of products with avian origin from Brazil. 2 major cable providers are joining forces.
Charter Communications is merging with Cox Communications. The deal is seen as a way for Charter to provide better bundles of broadband and mobile services. As customers continue to cancel cable, companies are trying to keep subscribers from switching to wireless service from AT&T, T-Mobile, and other companies that provide internet plans. Charter has about 30 million internet customers. Cox has more than 7 million. Charter and Cox previously talked about merging in 2013 before deciding against the plan.
Fox's Jenny Cosola. Again, stocks finish higher. The Dow now positive for the year. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News.
President of Champaign Rotary, Doug Nelson, with details about the Action Auction May 30th at the iHotel and Conference Center.
This is a fundraiser that we do every 3 years, so it's not an every year thing, and that's important for us because the money that's raised during that event is the fund that we can distribute over the next 3 years. So it's an important milestone for us. Because it's every 3 years, it's a big splash. It's a lot of fun. And this year we are really excited. It's going to be even better than ever because always we honor some, couple, some person who's made a difference in the community. And that's really what this is all about. And this year it's Josh and Hope Whitman, and for their impact in the community that goes far beyond the athletic sphere, their commitment to the community and just raising up and being part of this community in ways that we probably haven't seen before.
For more information, visit champaignrotary.info.
Hello again, everyone. Let's check weather for Eastern Illinois. Champaign and this Saturday going to be another busy and active one as we head on through the afternoon and evening hours of today. Cooler, drier shaping up for the upcoming weekend. Widespread rains and multi-inch rains will lead to some potting of the fields and field work delays and probably the need for some replanting over parts of the central and southern Corn Belt going forward into next week. Increasing clouds for the day today. Windy, warm, a bit less humid. A couple of thunderstorms break out this afternoon. And again, a stronger severe storm can't be ruled out. The high about 88. South-southwesterly wind 20 to 30, gust of 40 miles per hour. Boy, that ball will be flying out over left field at Wrigley Field. For tonight, windy early on. A couple of showers and thunderstorms mainly early and becoming partly cloudy to follow. Maybe even a stronger severe storm early on tonight. Cooler low down to 56. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, windy, cooler, and 74. We'll settle back into the 50s again here for tomorrow night. Sunshine and lighter winds for the day on Sunday. Highs near 77. Showers and thunderstorms late Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week. A few more showers next Thursday. Highs in the 70s Monday and into the 60s Tuesday, Wednesday of next week. For Stevie J Broadcasting, I'm meteorologist Greg Solgay.
Hey, what's up? Happy Friday. It's The Drive with Sam Piper, ESPN Radio 93.5. Derek Piper, Kyle Tosk with you, and we're going to have to savor this one. Kyle Tosk's last show of the summer. How's it feel, Kyle, to be done with finals?
That part feels great. Leaving here doesn't feel as great. I'm a little sad about that. I'll miss you guys.
Miss you as well.
But definitely glad to be done with my 6th semester of college.
Wow. It's been more than 10 years for me since I have completed finals at any point and gone through what that looks like, and I know there's some out there that it's longer than that, a couple more decades. So can you refresh us on what a finals week is like and what that feeling's like when you walk out of the building in the last one?
Just depends on the schedule. Like my freshman year, it was exam. I'd take 5 classes, 15 credit hours. I got 5 exams. One of them's Friday, then you got Monday, Tuesday. Like it's nonstop. You got a final almost every day. Now I only had 2 actual exams and 2 papers. So my first exam was last Friday. So you knock that one out first day of finals and you kind of get the weekend. I had a couple papers due this week. You kind of get to work on those. And Thursday morning was my last final. So it spaces out a little bit more, but there's always something to be doing, and the studying, for me at least, as I know for many people, usually happens the night before the exam. 98% of it, and you just go at it and do your best. And I think I did pretty well. So, but when you walk out of that last final, there's few better feelings throughout college than walking out of the classroom after taking the last final of the semester, and especially the last final of the second semester heading into summer. Mm-hmm. Just that walk out the door when you fly that door open and you hit the quad and you're walking back like, oh, I'm free.
And this will be the most peaceful one, I think, especially in terms of the end of the year, because next year you'll be going through graduation, right. And which, of course, there's a great release where you finally completed all your coursework and you have taken your last class of all time, you hope, at that point in time. But if you don't have it figured out, which I didn't, as far as graduating goes, in terms of where you're going next, that is a stressful feeling, and you start to wonder what the real world is going to be like. Of course, if anybody that is graduating this week and during this time, congratulations. And if you're one of those that don't know exactly what that next step looks like, don't stress. It's not worth it. it will work itself out, and just obviously put the work in, and you look back on it and be like, it all played out the way it was supposed to, or I ended up landing the job that I was worried about, and I sent out all the applications. I did the same thing, but it's just a cool time. So you should try to enjoy it as much as possible.
You're right. I mean, maybe this is the last one that I'll truly have that feeling. Next year might be a little bit more stressful. I'll have that first semester feeling. I mean, going into winter break still pretty good, but there's nothing like second semester. Yeah, I guess freshman through junior, and it's just that last bubble circled in on the Scantron. Get this thing turned in. That is it. I don't have to think about. Well, you have to think about it, but I don't have to do any schoolwork for 3 months now, and it's pretty good.
It's pretty great.
I'm glad to be at that point.
Well, I'm happy for you. We'll talk more as we go along about what the summer's going to look like. You got a pretty cool opportunity coming up this summer. Maybe we can, towards the end of the show, before we toast one on a Friday and say goodbye, you can fill us in on the details of what you'll be doing in the next upcoming months. And it is sports related, so that is something that we're excited about for you. Speaking of which, let's get to some updates. Apologies, you're listening to 5, and these are a little old, but the Cubs and White Sox playing in the Crosstown Classic, 6-3. Kyle repping the light blue Cubs hat today. I would say the Cardinals fan in me, especially now that the standings have tightened up.
It's not. Oh, that's cute. I hope the Cubbies are playing well, so we got some content. No, you could just come out and say it. You're rooting for the Sox all weekend heavily.
What I was thinking was that I hope there is a bullpen blow up in this game while we're on the air. So for like the last time we see each other for a few months, that we kind of get that riled up Kyle. That would be fun to me. You are so mean. Sorry, Rob, Cubs fan.
I wouldn't put it past it happening today. There's some wind gusts getting up to about 27 miles an hour straight out to left field today at Wrigley. That was a similar forecaster in that Diamondbacks game, which was one of the craziest games you'll ever see. Happened to be occurring while we were on the air. I thought it was a bullpen blow-up that was going to make me in a grumpy mood the rest of the day. And then the Cubs put up, a 10 spot of their own in the bottom of the inning. That game, let's hope that doesn't happen, because giving up a 8-run inning to the White Sox, I mean, you got to try to do that. I mean, you look at that lineup. I mean, is there anybody good?
That's the thing. I don't think the White Sox are capable of slugging with the Cubs today and all weekend. I wouldn't imagine. It's 6-3 at this point. Cubs did have a 6-run second inning. Pete Crow Armstrong, Kyle's guy, with the home run, and he's leading off today. 2 for 3, 3 RBIs, continuing what's been a spectacular start to the season.
He's got 12 homers now, leads the Cubs. I mean, he's been probably the best center fielder in the league. I will be honest, I had no idea he had this type of power in him.
I was just about to ask you, did he show that at all in the minors?
I mean, he was a guy that had some sneaky power to him. He wasn't like a Nico Horner type of like it's contact everything. He's got no pop to his bat. He always had some, but I mean, he had 10 homers last year, and he had to have played 110, 120 games or something. I thought, if you asked me mid-March, predict PCA's home run total for the season, I probably would have said, I think he'd get to 15. He's got 12 on May 16th.
Unbelievable.
I would never have thought that.
No.
And if he can be a true power hitter to go along with what he does in the field and on the base path with his speed, talking about a superstar in this league, might already be to that point. Still some things to get better at, but he's exciting, man. That's got to be my next jersey purchase, I think. I went with I ordered, I told you like a month ago, I ordered the new like throwback blue uniforms that they're wearing. I think they're wearing them today, of Shota Imanaga. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of regretting I didn't get PCA. I made the purchase when PCA had not done this yet. He was just starting to get going offensively.
Yep.
Yeah, I got to get some type of PCA merchandise in my wardrobe, I think.
If you look at what he's done on the bases, he's already got 13 stolen bases through 44 games. He's on about a 50 stolen bases pace. And the home runs, if it continues at this tear, I mean, he's going to be a 30 home run guy. We'll see if he can do that across a full season. But I went back into looking at what was the most he had done in terms of hitting the ball over the fence in the minors. you look at 2023, he split time between double and triple A. He hit a combined 20 home runs in 107 games. So it was there. It not like you said, you would be far more in tune with what his profile was coming up. And that's not, 20 isn't 30 plus or whatever that might be. But certainly that's been a huge part of pairing together the pieces that he has. We've been over it a million times. I mean, he's an elite defensive center fielder. He's got speed. He's got a nice average, 270 hitter and OPS near 900. Like, he's getting it done in a big way.
Yeah, I mean, he is like a true power bat in terms of they keep flashing the graphic up on Marquee of like since April 13th or whatever, over the last month, he leads MLB in extra base hits. So, like, he's just a slugging bat, which is not really what he was. He had power in the minors, but he was more of just a free swinging, high average kind of, and there were questions about his bat, too, coming up in terms of we know he's one of the best defensive prospects in all of baseball. We know he's got the speed. Can he hit at the major league level at all? And if he was going to hit it, I definitely wasn't going to be as like a slugger. But, yeah, I mean, his slugging percentage has to be like .550. He's got 12 homers and a bunch of doubles and triples. Like, it's surprising to me. That's not who I thought he was going to be. But if this is the version that the Cubs are getting, maybe you don't need Kyle Tucker. PCA's the guy. No, please sign Kyle Tucker also. You can have two superstars on one team, actually. But if you got another superstar homegrown guy coming up, like, man, that's exciting because you got him for the next at least 6-7 years, too.
PCA just knocked another one in. 7-3 Cubs. Pico Armstrong, 3 for 4 today, 4 RBIs. He's balling out at the top of that order, hitting in front of Kyle Tucker today. Then you go down the order. I mean, you got Suzuki, you got Bush, Carson, Mike Piazza, Kelly hitting at 5. And he's still a 300 hitter with a near 1,100 OPS. So, when he decides to cool off and come back to earth, I don't know when. I mean, probably has.
He has, but
to get to where it's
going to take him so long to get back to like average numbers because he started so hot. It'll take like a month-long slump for him, his numbers to look bad.
You're right. I should have, because he was like a 1,200 OPS.
Oh, he was at like 1,400 at one point.
He's only 3 for his last 23, so he could afford a few game stretch where he's not going to get it done. But still, all in all, a really nice season.
PCA leadoff is interesting, though, with Happ on the injured list. Slide PCA up there. That's the one weakness he has is he's not an on-base guy. He has like 4 walks all year. He just swings at everything. If you could just add that to his game, he could be your leadoff hitter of the future because he's going to have the pop. Of course, again, if he slugs like this, you probably want him hitting 5th or something. But you'd love to see him just get on a little bit more because then you could talk about like a 50-60 stolen base guy too. If he was just on first a lot more.
Yep.
Really this year he's been on second, third, and rounding the bags more than he's been on first.
That's true.
And he still has 13 steals. So that's the one thing that he could still grow at. But it's interesting. It's worked out. He's hit some bombs in that leadoff spot. And that's the good thing about this year's Cubs lineup compared to past years. You lose a guy like Ian Happ in previous years, and it's like, oh boy, now our 5 hitter is some dude that we signed, Trey Mancini, the aging veteran, or Justin Turner would be hitting 5th or something. But Cubs got some talent on the offensive side of the ball.
You prioritizing getting to Wrigley this summer?
Absolutely. I was already talking to my dad. We were trying to maybe go to tomorrow's game at Wrigley. I don't think that's going to happen, but definitely sometime in the very near future, I'm heading out there for a game.
I wonder what the ticket situation is looking like. You would imagine that just the excitement that this team is and the Cubs always are, especially the last decade, 15 years, and Cubs fans would know it a lot better than I would, but they've gotten a really strong turnout as far as attendance goes, and as we've talked about a handful of times, these Friday afternoon games, it looks like a packed house, and of course it would be for the Sox and Cubs. But are you too? This is off topic, but are you too young for the AJ Pierzynski, Michael Barrett?
I've seen clips of it so often, but I wasn't watching at that point.
Right.
But that, yeah. I'm always here for brawls and drama and rivalries.
No
like,
doubt.
just give me max drama. I'd love if something like that happened. I can't imagine that, though, just straight up, hey, AJ, don't go back to the dugout just yet. Here's a right hook to your mouth.
After he plowed over Barrett at the plate. I saw it again on social media as the Crosstown Classic was getting ready to kick off this weekend, that there was a highlight tape of the through the years, the different moments. And, yeah, I mean, as a Cardinals fan with no rooting interest in it, I kind of miss some of those. Now, I understand from a safety
standpoint. Don't have them that much
anymore.
Like the actual brawls.
Yeah, I think it's because you can't plow the catcher anymore. You can't take guys out at second. And it's easy for me as the guy that sits here on the radio or, from a basketball standpoint, I don't know what the proper comp is as far as that goes. I guess they've done away with some of the, the hard fouls. Now you get the flagrant ones, flagrant twos, where you could do the back in my day in the 90s. You just hack the crap out of people when they went to the lane, and it was just a common foul. You made them, wipe the blood out of their mouth as they went to the free throw line type of thing. So I don't want to do like the old man take as far as that goes. It is easy for me to say, yeah, I'd love to see, excuse me, I'd love to see a lot more takeouts at second, or I'd like to see a lot of head-on collisions at home. But I do miss those on occasion, to be honest with you. I'm sure there's players out there that do as well, even those that, at short might be having to dodge those hits or whatever it might be. But it added an intrigue over a course of these teams are about to play each other 3 times, sometimes 4 in a weekend. And if on the first game someone's going to take somebody out at second, then somebody's going to get plunked the next day or later that day. And then it kind of just brews throughout the weekend. Those were kind of fun storylines throughout a series back in the day.
We don't see a lot of intentional plunkings anymore really either, because those are usually how you start the benches clearing stuff. And I think part of that is it's just more of the old school mentality of I'm angry about something, I'm going to just throw at a guy. That's how we handle this thing on the baseball field. I think the younger generation of baseball players is why would I do that? Especially the excessive celebration stuff or the pimping homers. That's become common practice now, where a guy's going to homer and he's going to bat flip and he's going to watch it for 5 seconds, and the pitcher's just well, you homered, you're going to do that. I mean, it's the 8th time that someone's done that off me this year. I mean, everyone does it. And so you don't have as many of those oh, you were showing me up. Here comes a fastball to the ribs of the next hitter, and here comes the brawl. Here comes the bad blood, like you said. This is only Friday. We got Saturday and Sunday to play, and we got more coming. They'll probably retaliate tomorrow, and they'll get warnings. Just don't see that much anymore. I'm trying to remember the last big time brawl. Not to say that I love seeing people get hurt or anything, but just an actual brawl where there's some real bad blood. It's not one of the fake ones where oh well, we'll walk out of the dugout and start yelling at you for a minute, but then we're gonna break it up. One of those fake ones. It has to be wasn't there a huge one with Yasiel Puig involved?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That had to be 2019 or something like that. That's the last big time brawl I can remember. And it just feels like that has gone away now, more so because I just think people there's not as much reason, like you said, with the collisions for people to take offense to something, and then even the pimping homers and stuff. People just accept that that's going to happen. You crush a ball, you're probably going to bat flip and watch it.
Yep, no, that's a good point. I remember there's been at least 1 or 2 when Arenado was still in Colorado. He had a couple.
He charged the mound once, yeah.
At least once. I can remember one, image in my head of him getting involved in a big one. But
the Bryce Harper one with
Hunter Strickland. That's right. Yeah. Good call on that. Yep. And look, like you said, I wouldn't want it to be let's get back to throwing at people's heads and that kind of thing. There's a good reason why we've gotten away from that.
Oh, I've always hated I'm angry because a guy celebrated. Let me throw a fastball near his head. Give me a break. I've hated that. And some older baseball fans will say, "Oh, that's awesome. That's what we do. That's how we handle stuff." I've always hated that. But just in terms of we haven't seen even really all that much drama in any way.
To that comparison from a football standpoint, again, easier for me to say, but do I miss some of the bone-crushing hits you could do over the middle, like the John Lynch type safeties Brian Dawkins, who would just annihilate people Yeah, those were fun to watch. I mean, that's why you kind of the old. This is going to predate you, Kyle. Like the old NFL Blitz video game on N64. Like the way you could just. Now in that game, you could hit anybody anytime. As far as that, no PI, no whatever. But some of those things, I get why you're not doing that anymore. You've got concussion issues. You got CTE. You've got all that kind of stuff. So I know we're kind of even going further down the road than what I even maybe originally intended for, but
all those hits are targeting ejections today.
Yeah, they've overcorrected it so bad. I did see something recently. I think it was Kevin Sweeney for Sports Illustrated talking about some of the potential rule changes in college basketball. Now we're dancing all over the place. Lante's not even here. To say that there's now going to be some discretion for officials to use on groin shots. Like doesn't have to be an immediate flagrant 2. It can be a discretionary off flagrant 1. It doesn't have to be just common foul or you're kicked out based on if you happen to hit somebody in the groin. So I think also there were, the consideration of coaches' challenges and everything like that, which I think those would be good to an extent.
Just watch the NBA playoffs. The coach's challenge is not hurting anything. Like, there's no downside to it. And you lose it if you're wrong. So you can't it's not like a coach is going to be on the sideline challenging every foul against his team the whole game. And it's like, okay, now here comes 28 monitor reviews because this coach doesn't think his team ever fouls. You get a challenge. You can use it whenever. If you use it and you get it right, you keep the challenge. If you use it and you don't get the challenge right, it's gone. You can't challenge anything else. There's no reason that shouldn't be in college basketball. I think it's been great in the NBA playoffs when there's been brutal calls that you've gotten to get overturned late in the fourth quarter of an intense playoff game, that we don't need to be blowing crucial calls. College refs, we know, love to just make horrendous calls that are sometimes game-changing calls. The challenge system would be such an easy way without – I'm with everybody else that one of the biggest issues in college basketball is how much monitor time is spent with the officials at the monitor, and that's a whole separate issue. The one challenge per game, keep it if you get it right, lose it if you get it wrong, I think is a no-brainer.
I agree with all that. There's no reason to have the risk, and it actually protects the officials from making a terrible call. And look, it's a tough job. Some of them are just really bad at it. Jeffrey Anderson. But I think that there are times where, whether it's just an official making an anticipatory call that isn't actually, what it should have been, or they didn't have a great view of it, but they got to make a call on something type of thing. There's a limited amount of things that they can actually on their own go and review. Like, I know that late in games they can do out of bounds type of stuff, right? They can do some goaltending if they called it a goaltend on the floor type of thing. But there are just flat out fouls or no. You can't really challenge a no foul call, right? You can only challenge, was it actually a foul?
I think so.
You can't have somebody go to the rim, get hammered, there's no call. Can you challenge it and be like, that was a foul? I don't know that. I think that that's the way it goes. But it would take some of the pressure off to where you can get that call right. And that's important.
Here's the Kasparas Yakichonis game in East Lansing. That fourth foul, Brad Underwood says, absolutely not. You're not call. Sitting my star on the bench with 17 minutes with another blown call. We're going to challenge this one. Jeffrey Anderson could go to the monitor and see, oh, yeah, that was one of the most ridiculous calls I've ever made. We're going to overturn this one. Yep. And I like the fact with the challenge system, too. I've always loved it in baseball, where a guy blows an obvious call and then they have to announce that it's overturned. Yep. I just love that. It's like, yeah, you need the embarrassment, the minute of embarrassment, too, that your call, everybody can see it was so terrible, and now you have to come out and say, yeah, we're overturning this. My call was so awful.
Now, don't get me wrong. There's some guys that, especially those that carry, some big egos, that you'd be cool with them having to swallow their pride and have to do that. Here's the one thought I had, Kyle, that will be it's one of the most annoying parts of the NBA, and it will become that in college basketball. Every call, especially before and maybe even after, say you've challenged it, you lost your challenge, you no longer have a challenge. The ball goes out and your guy, let's use Coleman Hawkins in this example, because Coleman Hawkins never thought that a play or call should have gone against him, his hand is going up and doing the circle with the finger circle. Every time there's a foul that they didn't think was a foul, there was a ball that goes out that they didn't think was off of them, you got the dudes doing the finger circle. And it's super annoying to see in the NBA all the time. I get it. The players got to, if they truly believe it, got to signal to their coach, like, you should challenge this. But it's super excessive. Maybe it's just me that I find a reason to get annoyed by that. But I think I believe it's pretty widely something that people roll their eyes about, especially when it's something clear, like you hacked them. Like, why are you doing the finger thing?
Oh, everyone does it throughout a game. Like, guys in college basketball will make the signal with 8 minutes left in the second half. It's like, well, you've played college basketball. You're a fifth-year senior. You know that it's the last 2 minutes. Why are you doing the motion?
Yep.
There's nothing that we can possibly review right now, so put your finger down. They'll still do it.
They will. And they'll do it more if you give them challenges. I am fully on board with the challenge, though. And I think that's another big part of a coaching strategy of not only are you trying to manage timeouts, but it's a big thing in the NBA of when to press that button figuratively and try to feel like this call is very significant to where, there might be one, if I lose this challenge, I won't have it later on. And that would be a situation where I just can't do anything about it. So I think from a coaching standpoint, it adds more strategy to it. And it, like we talked about, it allows you to clean up some things that can easily be addressed. You can watch it on the monitor. Now, I know it's college basketball, or the NBA does it too, where they look at it's mostly college basketball. I watch mostly college basketball, but there are times where they look at the monitor for minutes and minutes. And like, we saw this second time we had it replayed, we were sure that it was the right call. The first time, like, yep. Second time, oh, yep, it's done. And then they're going to watch it, and then maybe, hey, come on over here. Are we sure? Like,
they go over to the broadcasters area, and are like, oh, you guys have a different angle we haven't seen. Could we see this angle? It's like, oh, my. That's a separate discussion of something needs to be done about the constant monitor reviews in the final 2 minutes of college basketball. Maybe you could pair that with a challenge system like the NBA does, to where if they miss an out-of-bounds call, your challenge is gone. Sorry, we're not going to monitor. We're not just going to review every single thing that happens.
Right.
Yet you could have challenged it if you didn't challenge that call that was very obviously a foul in the first half.
Yep.
Maybe you pair it with something like that, and that could solve two issues at once. But I think there needs to be a challenge system in college. I think it'd be only beneficial with very, very minimal drawback, and I think it's worked great in the NBA.
That would be interesting. And can we just call the groin shot rule the Draymond Green rule? Although don't paint him as an angry man.
Oh no,
I know. I'm not going to go down that.
Draymond.
But
I mean, he's just a clown. I mean, does it ever go through his mind? It's like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't kick that guy in the groin tonight.
Apparently not.
It's so when he does it, it's so obviously intentional and flagrant every time, and then he also like can't believe that he got a flagrant or a technical or whatever. It's like, you know exactly how people feel about you, and the only person to blame is you. So why do we have to act like, well, I get this unfair treatment and I'm portrayed some type of way? Everybody on their Plasma HD TV watches 80 replays of your dirty play, and it's the 813th dirty play you've had in your career. I wonder why people have this narrative about you, Draymond.
You can easily make, and it could be much longer, like a 2-minute highlight tape of all the dirty things that he's done. Like, that's why you're not portrayed as angry. Maybe you got some anger in there that leads to it. You're just a dirty basketball player. Like, you are trying to cross the line, go up to the line and cross it as much as possible. And it's not anything beyond, it's not some media narrative. It's not picking on you. It's not because of race. It's nothing involved in all of that. It's just the fact that that's the way you play, and you've done it enough times that we all know. But it feels like there are some people in that regard. Look, there's got to be villains out there, and sometimes that kind of guy that pushes a line, that goes past it, you love to have him on your team, and you hate to have him if you're against him. but Steph even feels like he even shows at times like he's like, oh, Draymond's doing this again. Oh, why has he got to do that?
And Steve Kerr too. He'll get asked about it and be like, "Yeah, that was ridiculous by Draymond. We talked about how that's unacceptable." It's like, well, he's like 34 in his 15th year, and this is the 40th time this has happened. And you've talked to him the other 39 times. He's not changing.
Yeah, and he's not helping the team when he gets suspended or when he gets kicked out or anything like that. So, yeah, that's Draymond being Draymond. We all know who Draymond is. He just has to convince himself that it's not his fault or that, that's enough on that. 217-359-2255 if you want to weigh in on the Max Twin City Recycling text line. I did have a thought because today's the first day of the live period on, yes, that old thing. When you go out and watch AAU games and college coaches go and scout high school talent, that is happening this weekend. I'll fill you in a little bit on that.
Did you have to double check? Like, oh, wait, when is that again?
I honestly did a little bit, yeah. I've known it. I've had the weekend circle for a few weeks.
I'm kidding, of course. I know you stay on top of that. But nowadays, you don't even have to.
I did kind of have to this morning, though, go through the list of all right, who's all in this class that Illinois is looking at? And it used to be so easy to just know it like the back of my hand of here's 15 guys that Illinois has offered and going hard after. Maybe they're going after really hard after 5, and here's the plan B guys, and here's the guys that they're scouting. They still want to see more. It's not like that anymore. But they are out on the road, and there are some very talented players that they are looking at. So we can go over some of that. But I also want to talk to Kyle about the shift in dynamic of the importance of high school recruiting versus what it was and now, and what we think about that. So we'll do that as we go along. Stick around with us. It is The Drive.
Hark, there be a barge of overseas appliances, overpriced tariff-laden goods. Unload quick! We don't have any other choice but to pay the high prices.
Sure we do.
Well, if my eyes don't deceive me, it be Paul Rican from Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. What speak ye about saving money?
At Dick Van Dyke Appliance World, you don't need to worry about overpriced tariff goods. We are stocked with pre-tariff inventory.
You don't need me overpriced appliances from overseas?
Nope, we're good. We even have Speed Queen in stock made right here in the good old Midwest.
You want none of it?
We have 2 warehouses full of pre-tariff inventory and a service department to repair your existing appliance if you want to save even more money instead of buying new.
Well, I'll be. Can I interest ye in me lobster bisque?
Well, it is 9 a.m.
You got to try me lobster bisque.
Okay, all right, I'll get some to go. Take credit card?
With a 5% service charge and sign here for a minimum 30% tip.
Wow. When you buy from us, you get the whole store.
This is XYZ Insurance. How can I help?
I have a question about my home policy.
Okay, question about phone policy.
Home policy.
Okay, gnome policy.
HOME, home.
Technology is great, but sometimes it's better to talk with a real person. With Erie Insurance, you have a caring, independent agent who's with you from beginning to end.
We don't have any HOMEs on record.
Your Erie agent in Champaign is Thomas & Ellers Insurance. Go to erieinsurance.com for company licensure and product details.
You've set your financial goals. One kid plans to go Big Ten, the other Ivy. Your bucket list includes seaside sunrises and sunsets on the slopes, or perhaps a second home away from it all. Busey Bank can help develop the right investment strategy to take charge of the years ahead. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Proud to be the official bank of the Fighting Illini. Member FDIC.
Crystal Lake Park Family Aquatic Center opens May 24th. Open 7 days a week, 12:30 p.m. on weekdays and 11 a.m. on weekends. Lap swim is Monday through Friday, 6 to 11 a.m. Check out pool memberships and punch cards for extra savings, and be on the lookout for special days and promotions at the pool. For more information, call 217-367-1544 or visit urbanaparks.org. Urbana Park District. You belong here.
When the storm rolls in, where will you go? Don't wait until it's too late. Protect your family with a custom storm shelter from Berg Septic and Storm Shelter Services. At Berg Tanks, their shelters are fiberglass and plate steel safe rooms that can be installed in your garage or exterior, in ground, or on a concrete pad. Built to withstand the toughest storms, giving you a safe, secure place when you need it most. Whether you need a compact unit for a small space or a larger shelter for the whole family, they've got you covered. Their expert team handles everything from excavation to installation so you can have peace of mind before the next storm strikes. Berg Septic also specializes in septic pumping, new system installation, grease trap cleanings, repairs, and maintenance plans to keep your home running smoothly. Call Berg Septic and Storm Shelter Services today at 217-367-8632 or visit them online at bergtanksinc.com. That's bergtanksinc.com. You've heard about the doggy bag, right? From Bulldog Disposal Muhammad, a 6 cubic yard canvas bag that can be used for easy cleanup instead of a big dumpster. The one-time use bag is now available and you can save the delivery charge. Get the doggy bag at Do It Best Hardware in Champaign at 107 West Springfield. So fill up the bag, call Bulldog Disposal, have it disposed of, and you'll be organized. Go to bulldoggybag.com for all the details. That's bulldoggybag.com.
Hi, Ellen Hook here, owner of your local Ashley. Attention Champaign-Urbana. The Memorial Day mattress sale is going on now at Ashley. Relax and recharge this summer with our best deals on top mattress brands. Right now, save up to $500 on adjustable sets from Tempur-Pedic and save up to $1,000 on select adjustable sets from Purple. Plus, take advantage of long-term interest-free financing on qualifying in-store purchases. Stop into our newly remodeled mattress gallery today at your local Ashley at 602 West Anthony Drive.
I was born in Louisiana.
July of 1936, the world welcomed George Buddy Guy.
Buddy Guy, that is.
Now, after live performances spanning generations, the legend says goodbye. Buddy Guy, the Damn Right Encore. June 24th, the Virginia Theater. Special guest, Taj Farrant. Tickets on sale now at thevirginia.org. From the Damn Right Farewell Tour comes the Damn Right Encore. Buddy Guy, live.
Back on the drive with Sam Piper, ESPN Radio 93.5, 8-3. The Cubs up on the White Sox, bottom 7, threatening for more.
I just said the best way to get a struggling offense a little bit, by the Cubs standards at least, the offense had been slumping a little bit. Best way to break out of that series with the White Sox at home.
Yeah, right?
That's a nice way to just get going again, pad some numbers.
Well, I'm happy for you guys. Not really.
I mean, it's about time that
I know.
play the White Sox after that April schedule. I've been waiting for this schedule stretch for a month. Playing the entire NL West as if we're an NL West team.
I'll still say it. I really enjoy watching the Cubs. As somebody that, your local options, Cardinals and Cubs, and look, when we play you, and I don't want you running away at the division by any means. And I'd love the Cardinals to be the NL Central champs and go to the playoffs and prove me wrong on not being that excited for this season and seeing them struggle early on and being ready to kind of, I wouldn't say pack it up, but just accept the reality of what it is. Another underwhelming type of year for the Redbirds, but the Cubs are one of the most entertaining watches in baseball. I said it a few weeks ago that they were the most fun team in baseball. I still kind of feel like that. So I like turning them on and watching what they can do. But, yeah, that will have a shelf life, Kyle. It will. By the time we play you guys next month, I'll be ready to beat you. But
PCA's RBI count up to 6 on the day, by the way. 2-run knock.
Should have played his bases or something. Got to get some baseball bets in. You got to maybe give us a home run bet for old time's sake on the way out before we get out of here. Before we move on to college basketball and recruiting, which I'm interested to hear your thoughts on the new dynamic. And it's not necessarily new. We've seen this with the transfer portal over the last couple of seasons. Now you've got Europe as a way to get talent as well. High school recruiting is just not what it used to be. Now, I say that. You just went and got Will Riley from the high school scene, and he was playing EYBL at this time last year, and Brad Underwood and Orlando Antigua watched him, and I was there as well, and he put up whatever it was, 40-some points, and then he ends up reclassing and coming to Illinois, and he's about to get picked in the middle of the first round. So that stuff is important. I did want to give you, though, before we dive into that conversation, the PGA leaderboard there in North Carolina.
Still got Johnny Vegas leading it.
Johnny Vegas. Don't know who that is.
I would not have ever heard of that name before yesterday.
The first recognizable name, and I'm not the biggest golf diehard out there, but Max Homa, someone that's kind of been off the radar for quite a while. He shot 7 under today. He's now a 5 under, tied for 5th. Matthew Fitzpatrick's also there, tied for 5th with him at 5 under. I know Homa, and doing a little bit of digging before this tournament, has had success at Quail Hollow before, but he's somebody that was really down the odds board of just haven't heard his name involved in really a while, but especially in some of these bigger tournaments. Scotty Scheffler's still playing. He's 4 under through 10, 2 under on the day. Bryson DeChambeau, -3 today, and he's sitting at -3 overall. It's tied for 13th. I wanted to see where Rory was real quick.
Is he going to miss the cut?
Is he flirting with that?
No, he's back to even par with a 3 under day through 9 so far.
He's playing, so Scheffler, Rory, and Xander Schauffele are all playing in the same group. And, looking like Rory, after a rough day yesterday. What would that have made him yesterday? +3?
Yeah.
+3 yesterday, and right now having a good bounce back to put himself in position to make the cut. And wasn't that the case of the Masters, too? Didn't he get off to a slow start, I think, in the first round?
I think he was even par through 1 at the Masters, like outside the top 40 or something like that.
Yep.
Then really turned it on Friday.
Randy says Mickelson just took 4 shots to get out of a greenside bunker. One of us, one of us, one of us. Sorry about you, Phil. I'm sure the glasses looked cool, though, when he was doing it.
Did you put any bets on the PGA?
I did. I bet Cam Smith, who was terrible yesterday. I think he was +7. So went live golf with Cam and Joaquin Niemann, who also has not played well. I was so bummed that those were my 2 picks. I didn't go crazy in terms of like finding off a lot of outrights. I was bummed that both of those were pretty much, looking dead after one day, that I fired off on Bryson again.
I did too.
Did you really?
I got Bryson.
Did you take him pre-tournament or today?
Pre-tournament.
Pre-tournament. I got him going into today. So I wanted him pre-tournament, but I was like, is he worth it? Because he's less than 10-1 now.
Yeah, I got him at +950, I think.
That's still a pretty good number. I think I got him at 11 today because he was even through the first round. But I'm glad we're going to ride the Bryson train again, and let's get it home this time. The Masters, he had a really good tournament, and he's become one of these guys that is major tournaments, every one you expect him to be in contention.
It's kind of like a top 3 that has been created at this point going into majors. It's Scotty, Rory, and Bryson.
Yep.
As the top 3 guys, and those are the guys that are going to be pretty short odds, and he's in that group now after winning the U.S. Open last year, and he's been near the top of most leaderboards here recently.
Yep, he has been. And he's been one of the top golfers in the LIV competition, but like you said, winning what did he win? Was the PGA last year?
I think he won the U.S. Open last year.
That's right. Yep, U.S. Open
with
last year.
Clutch bunker shot on the 72nd hole. I forget, that was against Rory, wasn't it? It was him and Rory coming down to the 18th hole, and I
think that's right.
He needed to go up and down from the bunker on 18 and hit an unbelievable shot to win it.
There was a stretch there because he really came on like around COVID time of breaking out. And, he was kind of the polarizing. He's different than what you typically expect as far as, he wants to play the power game. He wants to say he can outdrive every golf course and just doing some of the weird swing routines. And anyways, like there were people that kind of made fun of what he was doing, but he was having success. Then he kind of fell off. He goes to LIV. Like, is he just going to be this bomber that's too inconsistent, that doesn't hit enough fairways or whatever it might be? But he's got a really well-rounded game now, and he's shown up each and every time in the big moments. So,
as a very casual golf fan, he's probably my favorite golfer right now. Part of that too is I enjoy watching his YouTube content.
Yeah, I like him. I'm a Bryson fan, and I'm in on him for this week. I agree with you. I think he's He's maybe my favorite. I'm a Hovland guy, even though I'm more of a Hovland guy probably when I don't have money on him, because then I don't have to worry about him.
He's playing pretty solid. He's tied for 22nd at 2 under.
Yep. I didn't play him going into this tournament. He's streaky. He'll have it going, and then he'll just have a day where it just unravels, which can understand and relate to that. Hey, Neiman's -1. He's -4 on the day, back to -1. He's not totally out of it. This course is obviously playing tough enough. You're not seeing these crazy scores, other than whatever the heck Johnny Davis.
Johnny Vegas.
What's happened to Johnny Davis? Is he still in the league?
I would be surprised.
Oh my gosh!
Did you see at one point when he was with the Wizards, there were videos of his jump shot, like in pregame, and it looked like he'd never shot a ball before. Like it was so broken.
Really?
Like he looked like he was a broken player.
Jeez.
There was like a huge hitch in the shot. Like it looked like a non-basketball player was taking the shots.
That's crazy. He played this last year for the Westchester Knicks. He's been a G League guy.
All right. And he went how high? Like 10th or 12th? He was a lottery
You're
guy.
right. Yeah, he went 10th. That's insane that he would be somebody that just looked like they couldn't shoot, period. Kind of like, have you seen the Russell Westbrook threes in this?
Yeah.
In this series? They won last night, though.
They did. I'm mad. I was going to bet Denver money line didn't. I had a feeling they would send it to 7. Just, you kind of can get a feel in these 7-game series when a series is bound for 7. Like when it's just back and forth, every game's close. That series has just felt like we're going to get 7. And I'm excited for Game 7 on Sunday.
Well, while we're here, let's save the high school recruiting conversation for the start of next hour. Are you getting this? We're getting 7 vibes out of the Knicks and Celtics? Because that's a huge game tonight.
I think the Knicks get it done tonight.
Yeah.
I think the Celtics had their one. Let's rally around our injured guy. Jaylen Brown plays out of his mind. And then I think it's a Knicks domination tonight. Maybe not domination, but I think that can only last one game. The Knicks looked like the far superior team with Tatum out there. And I think it was kind of a cute, like, oh, the Celtics really came to play. And I think that reaches an end tonight, and I think the Knicks get it done in 6.
I'm with you. Knicks 2.5-point favorites going into tonight. I've told you, I think I've said it on this airwaves, but I really want to see the Knicks. They're not my favorite team left in the playoffs. I, like you, I'm primarily rooting for the Wolves, Ant-Man and Terrence to get it deep into the playoffs, get to the finals. I would love to see them win it, but I like Brunson. I've liked Brunson for a long time, and I want to see something new. I think the environment at MSG is really cool, and I think that the deeper they go, it'd kind of be fun too. I know, we're not having Reggie Miller and Pat Ewing walk through that door, but kind of an old school throwback Knicks Pacers series would be intriguing. I just kind of like to see the Knicks in the finals. I don't know.
I like Brunson too. It's just sometimes I can't get over the foul baiting stuff. It's so bad. It's so bad. When he doesn't focus on that, he's awesome to watch. When he's just like, I gotta go make a shot, electric player. But man, does he want contact every time down the court. It's tough sometimes. He's got to just dial it down a little bit. I get that there's so many guys doing it. He's number one in the league right now.
Well, like if you took the clocks back a year, and the Mavs are making obviously a bunch of noise in the postseason, and I was loving the Luka run, but Luka can play to the rest, maybe even more than LeBron does. Like he might be number one. Yeah. So there was that part of it where he's killing. He knocked off. I wanted that T-Wolves team then to go deeper. I forget who they beat in the earlier rounds to beat the Nuggets, right? I think the Mavs. No, that was the T-Wolves that beat the Nuggets last year. I forget who the Mavs beat earlier in the playoffs that run, but that was a really fun thing to watch of Luka take his team all the way to the finals, and he hits the shot, the Gobert switch, and he hits that like game-winning shot in that series against the Wolves. But he is somebody that it just was hard to fully enjoy the Luka experience, and I know that people are dealing with that with Brunson now, but
It was the Thunder they beat earlier.
Okay. Yep.
Them and the Clippers.
Gotcha. So, I don't know. I am in on New York, though. I wonder for tonight, and I'm really looking forward to watching tonight's game. The Celtics are different than some other teams that would lose their star, and that they've got still a really strong nucleus of guys.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Jaylen Brown being the Finals MVP last year. They've got some supporting cast members. Like Pritchard can show up and hit 6 threes. Derek White has been bombing from 3. Go on down the list. If Porzingis, I know he's been bad in the postseason. If he were to give you a good game,
He looks like he can barely walk.
I know.
Like he should just not be playing.
So maybe that's out of the question. The pressure's going to be on New York, though.
Oh, yeah.
And New York they have this history now of, it's kind of to the point where I wouldn't say they expect something to go wrong, but there is kind of like, all right, are they going to be able to take that step that they've been waiting for a long time? And this was, they haven't been in this position for a long time. They wasn't that long ago. They were one of the jokes of the NBA, punchlines of the NBA for a long time. But I just wonder, like, this is a monumental moment for like the Brunson legacy and just where this is going for New York, because obviously you topple the defending champs and possibly the odds-on favorite to win it. OKC gets beaten 7 by Denver. Like, that path could really, really open up if you win tonight.
Man, if Denver does beat Oklahoma City, which if I'm making a pick for that game, I'm taking the Thunder at home.
Yeah, me too.
But Denver has been in every game of that series pretty much. Like, they could do it. If it's Timberwolves, Nuggets, Pacers, Knicks, who's the favorite to win the finals? Because there was thought to be like a big 3 of Thunder, Celtics, Cavs.
Yep.
Those are your 3 finals contenders. You'd have none of them in the conference finals.
Unbelievable. And then, correct me if I'm wrong, the Knicks' regular season record against that big 3 was 0-11.
I believe you're right.
So that was the big hang-up on them. The Wolves were really underwhelming for a good stretch of the first half of the season. I know Randall coming back from injury has changed them. Is the Wolves the right answer? I don't know, though. Or is the Knicks?
I honestly was going to say Denver.
Yeah, you're right. I don't know.
It's pretty much the same core that's won a title, and you got Nikola Jokic.
Yeah.
And they would be at home in that Minnesota series, right? Home court advantage. They're the 5 seed, I think, or maybe the 4.
I think that's right.
I probably would have said Denver, but it's anyone's game at that point. I mean, and neither one of us have said the Pacers, who have looked the best of any team in the postseason. I mean, they've mowed down the Cavs and the Bucks. I know the Bucks obviously had the Dame injury, but they made quick work of the Cleveland Cavaliers. I know they had injury issues too, but also they made quick work of the fully healthy Cavs too, and beat them in Cleveland twice. So that's tough. I mean, that'd be interesting. I think both those series would be great. It'd just be really surprising to have none of those heavy hitters make it to the conference finals.
It's a good point. I think the parity and the unpredictability is exciting for kind of like a casual NBA fan. Now, you want to see especially in the finals, you want to see just a star-studded matchup. You don't want to get to a point where it's like, well, here's the Pacers, and I'm not going to say you're going to have a dud of a finals, but you want it to be. There's even been NCAA tournaments where it's like, did we have too many upsets? It's an Elite Eight game and it's St. Peter's against who? Like that can happen, obviously, but that's part of what we all love about the NCAA tournament. And sometimes the NBA playoffs it can be really chalky and repetitive teams and matchups in the finals, or we're getting the Spurs in the finals again, or we're getting LeBron in the finals again, or the Curry Warriors in the finals again. Like, and I get it. I don't want to go down that argument again as somebody that's a Bulls Jordan guy, but I like kind of the newness of what we could get. And for me, I think the Knicks is exciting to have one that can march on. All right, we'll talk some high school recruiting on the basketball side, some names you should know as Brad Underwood and company are out on the road this weekend, and we'll give Kyle a send-off for the summer as well. So stick around for that. This is The Drive.
You're listening to WSJK ESPN 93.5 Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St. Louis Cardinals.
A possible inside job. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. A sheriff says 10 inmates could not have escaped a New Orleans jail without help.
We have indication that these detainees received assistance in their escape from individuals inside of our department.
The Orleans Parish Sheriff Susan Hudson says she's been warning about defective jail cell locks, but a corrections officer should have been monitoring the area where the escapees were able to break open a door and then breach a wall behind a toilet.
And based on video surveillance, they were seen exiting a door on the docks where we normally bring in supplies, scaling a wall and running across the interstate shortly thereafter.
That was around 1 a.m. They weren't discovered missing until a head count hours later. All of it under investigation as a manhunt continues with one inmate captured so far. The U.S. Supreme Court rejects an emergency appeal from the Trump administration on use of the Alien Enemies Act to swiftly deport suspected foreign gang members. But the justices emphasized today's decision is only that detainees are entitled to more notice, granting a temporary injunction as a legal fight continues. The administration was hoping to quickly resume deportations of Venezuelans accused of being gang members. Earlier this week, a federal judge in Pennsylvania said the wartime law can be used to fast-track deportations, but she ordered more notice. The budget package aimed at advancing the Trump agenda fails to pass the House Budget Committee, but a revote is planned Sunday night. Tennessee Republican Congressman David Kustoff telling Fox Business,
"We've got to find the happy medium, and there are a lot of issues that have to be worked through, but look, in the end, we're going to get there, and this is what President Trump campaigned on."
Several conservative lawmakers not satisfied with the current version. Moody's just downgrading the U.S. credit rating by one notch, citing concern about government debt. America is listening to Fox News.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer? Can we sleep cooler? Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. It's the Sleep Number Everything Smart Bed sale. Every smart bed and base are on sale during our Memorial Day event. Up to 50% off, plus free home delivery. Limited time. Exclusively the Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, cause you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak hot. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things. People. Love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
A man suspected of threatening to kill a congresswoman is arrested.
South Carolina's State Law Enforcement Division announced they'd arrested 19-year-old Samuel Kane of Greenville. He's accused of writing a post on X in which he said he was going to assassinate South Carolina Congresswoman Nancy Mace with a gun. The South Carolina Daily Gazette reports that Kane is transgender and goes by Roxy Wolf online. Mace recently posted an exchange she had with a transgender student at the University of South Carolina. Following a speech she'd given, the student asked her not to use the word tranny. Kane could face 5 years in prison. Mace has said she's actively thinking about running for governor next year. Jessica Rosenthal, Fox News.
The Jacksonville Airport in Florida is set to reopen at this hour after a garage fire shut it down, destroying several vehicles. No reports of injuries. The fire under investigation. An arrest might derail a tour.
Chris Brown's upcoming tour is in limbo after a British judge ordered the R&B star held in custody Friday over an alleged bottle attack in a London nightclub. The 36-year-old Grammy winner appeared in Manchester Magistrates Court to face a charge of causing grievous bodily harm. Judge Joanne Hurst denied Brown's bail request, ruling that he must remain detained until his next hearing, June 13th in London, the same day he's scheduled to perform in Frankfurt, Germany. Prosecutors say Brown launched an unprovoked attack on music producer Abe Dial in February of 2023 at Tape nightclub in London. According to the prosecutor, Brown struck Dial repeatedly with a bottle. His defense attorney argued that Brown was not a flight risk and should be released. Michelle Polino,
Fox News.
A strong finish on Wall Street with the Dow turning positive for the year, up 331 points today. The S&P with its fifth gain in a row. The Nasdaq up 98. That strong finish happening before we got word of that Moody's U.S. credit rating downgrade. I'm Lisa Brady. This is Fox News.
Hello again, everyone. Let's check weather for East Central Illinois, Champaign and vicinity. As expected, most of the rougher weather passing by parts of East Central Illinois, the Twin Cities. We may be in line to that here this afternoon. Again, points to the north and east in particular. Increasing clouds, windy, warm, bit less humid with a couple of thunderstorms breaking out this afternoon. Maybe a stronger severe storm or perhaps even a weather watch over parts of the area. 88 the high. That south-southwesterly wind, 20 to 30 gusts of 40 miles per hour. Windy early on tonight. A couple of showers and thunderstorms early and perhaps some stronger severe storms. Will turn cooler in the overnight. Low down to 56. Southwest to west wind, 20 to 30 gusts above 40 miles per hour early on. Tomorrow, sunshine, windy, much cooler at 74. Will bottom out to 54 for tomorrow night. Sunny and 77 on Sunday with lighter winds. And late Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday as well. Outbreaks of showers, couple of thunderstorms early on into next week. 73 on Monday, 60s Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Finally, dry time next Friday. 1 to 3, some spots, 2 to 4 inches of rain across a good part of the central and southern Corn Belt next week. For TPJ Broadcasting, I'm meteorologist Greg Solgay.
It is the Drive with Sandpiper, ESPN Radio 93.5. 13-3 Cubbies, bottom 8. Think you're safe. If you're not, then Kyle's probably walking out on his last day of the summer. Last day of the spring, I should say.
Yeah, I won't be here till 5 if this lead gets blown to the White Sox at Wrigley. Got to get Ryan Presley in the game up 10-3. That's the best way to get him in there. Not in a situation where he actually can blow the game.
What have they been doing with him here recently? Just been not pitching him?
Mop-up duty.
Really? Yeah. Interesting.
Since the 9-run, no-out performance, it's been strictly mop-up duty for him.
That'll do
Actually, I do got to give him credit. He came in the comeback win on Tuesday night when the Cubs walked off the Marlins. He came in with the bases loaded, 2 outs, and struck a guy out. So maybe he's back.
Coming around a little
I don't
bit.
know about that, though.
I don't think we ever got a rant from you after the 9 runs, no outs from Presley.
Too late now.
It is too late. You can't be mad. You're up 13-3.
I would have needed to record something as it was unfolding, and that would have been the best.
It would have.
As the 7th run comes to score, and he still has yet to get it out. Wrigley Field is emptied out. Probably wouldn't have been safe for radio, actually. My honest thoughts on that inning.
Podcast only. All right. Speaking of Chicago, there was a good battle of Chicago land products earlier today. Mean Streets and Mac Irvin Fire, the 16U team, squared off in Memphis. That's where the EYBL session is taking place this weekend. That's really always the cream of the crop in terms of the most consistent across-the-board talent. I think the best way to put it is just the sheer volume of high major talent is the best in the EYBL. It's been that way. It continues to be that way. Now, you do have Adidas. You do have Under Armour. You've got Puma's popped up with a league as well, the Pro 16, I think it's called, and they've actually stolen some good players from some other leagues and put them in theirs. One of those, I believe, is Alex Constanza from Florida, who I think Illini fans, if you're either familiar with him or you've heard some about him, a 5-star in that 2026 class. And he's considered for a while making a move into the 2025 class, reclass and go to college this year. It sounded like it's most likely going to be staying in 26, but could he do a Will Riley and at the end of this month or early June be like, no, actually, I'm going to college? He could. I don't think that'd be good for Illinois. I think that they do have a spot, but I don't know that the path for him to come in and get a big role or the money to get that thing done is necessarily sitting around and waiting there.
Can I ask you a question on him?
Please do.
Somebody and forgive me, I don't remember who it was. You might know. Somebody wrote a piece about him recently, which had an interview with him talking about the schools that are recruiting him. Do you remember who wrote that?
I think that was Jamie Shaw from On3.
That's who it was. On3 Sports. And he mentioned in there when talking about Illinois, he said, Orlando Antigua's my uncle. Mm-hmm. Is he actually his uncle, or is that one of those, he's my dad's close buddy, so I call him Uncle Orlando type of thing?
The latter.
That's what I thought.
Dad's close buddy. His dad and his mom are both from the Dominican, I believe.
Okay.
And his dad played professionally down there, and at the same time that Orlando was playing. So they have, I believe, playing experience, whether I think it was against each other at one point in time, but they've known each other for a long time. Both guys, both Orlando and his dad, Ed Constanza, were from that area, played basketball in New York, and then went down during their professional careers and played some in Central America. So I think that's something that is a long-standing relationship, always good to have. Yes, the fit still needs to be able to happen. The money is always a big factor. I will say, in addition, it just kind of to lead into that one a little bit more, Miami, since Jay Lucas has been hired there as the head coach, it sounds like they've been a big player in that recruitment, and he is currently stationed in South Florida as far as the family. I think they're in the Miami area. So we'll see where that goes. If he stays in 26, you'll still probably have a war against Miami, but you'll have a chance to prioritize him and have money that makes sense and that whole kind of thing, which I want to then talk about, Kyle, is like how much should you prioritize high school players who will be incoming freshmen? Do you want to make big expenditures for 5-star level talent? There's that way to do it. Or do you want to have 4 and 5 man recruiting classes like you used to? I think those are all fair questions, and I think you probably start to say no to a lot more things than you obviously used to.
I think that's definitely fair. I think the days of 4 or 5 man high school recruiting classes for Illinois are over.
I agree.
I'd be shocked if there was another 4+ man high school class, unless it was some circumstance maybe similar to last year where your whole roster's gone and you knew that because you had a bunch of seniors on maybe a multi-year plan, kind of like Coleman and Terrence and those guys. You're like, okay, we know that we're going to have nobody. But I think the big classes are gone. The way I look at it from Illinois' perspective on the high school front, and I'll let you tell me I'm way off base or not, is you obviously have to focus on high school recruiting. You still to ignore it would be dumb, but you kind of can pick and choose a lot more to where, like in this class you have Keaton Wagler and Brandon Lee, 2 guys that probably aren't going to contribute right away, 2 guys that are more developmental prospects, but clearly Illinois sought them out, found them, really liked their skill set, and that's just one of those evaluations that they made that they're like, okay, these guys are worth, we're not going to have to give these guys huge NIL as freshmen, but we still want to add these guys and see if we can develop something, and they know that they're going to be more developmental guys. But I think you can still have some of those guys, but you're more so just picking and choosing from Illinois' perspective. You don't have to go all in on a high school class or a state of Illinois' crop of high school talent because the fallback is always, well, we have the portal. Well, we have this international pipeline now. So you can be very selective. There's a guy like Constanza who Orlando Antigua walks into Brad Underwood's office and says, look, I got this kid I've known since he was a little boy, and I'm tight with it. Like, I will get us in deep in this recruitment, and this is a stud, and this would be worth it to pay up. Or Will Riley like last year. And you go after that guy. If you don't get him, it's not the end of the world. You don't have to put all different, eggs in different baskets on the high school front to say, boy, we need to get 3 or 4 guys. If we get 0, that doesn't mean we're screwed. We still have so many other avenues to add talent that we can be really selective about the guys that we want to go after. Maybe there's going to be a class where they don't go after any high school prospects. Maybe they have a little bit of a bigger high school class, or they identify one guy that we want to go all in on, like a Will Riley. But it just, to me, there doesn't have to be as much like stress put into high school recruiting from Illinois' perspective, or worry about not landing somebody, because the worst case is we don't get a high school prospect, we can get somebody. There's always another avenue to get somebody. So that's kind of how I see it from Illinois' perspective, that I think they're just
Crystal Lake Park Family Aquatic Center opens May 24th. Open 7 days a week, 12:30 p.m. on weekdays and 11 a.m. on weekends. Lap swim is Monday through Friday, 6 to 11 a.m. Check out pool memberships and punch cards for extra savings, and be on the lookout for special days and promotions at the pool. For more information, call 217-367-1544 or visit urbanaparks.org. Urbana Park District. You belong here.
The sounds of spring and the smell of flowers in the air, they all add up to Spring Green, America's neighborhood lawn care team. They become your favorite through quality service and professionalism. Spring Green will service and maintain your lawnscape with seeding, aeration, fertilizing, disease, and insect control. Over 32 years of satisfied customers reflect their commitment to Champaign-Urbana and the Mattoon-Charleston area. Call Spring Green at 217-359-2111 or online at spring-green.com. We're talking to John Reichert and Neil Asklin. I guess the first question for me, John, is what is it like being part of A&R, knowing how this all started? It was your grandfather, then your dad, and now you, and 100 years in business is hard. How do you explain that?
Well, it's incredible, honestly. When I was a boy, obviously my father was running the company. It's always been, part of my life, but I knew that we had good people, at that time that worked for the company. I think with God's help and protection that we survived and frankly thrived.
I think the thrive is the key word here. Neil Asklin, I guess, let me ask you about your dad, Ken Asklin, who partnered with Dave, and they got it going in the 50s and kept it going, and you being part of the company.
I've been around since I was a young teenager, so something that I've grown to love, and the camaraderie and getting things done. And these huge projects that we're doing now it just amazes me.
A&R Mechanical, a thriving leader 100 years later.
What's poppin'? That would be our lights and power on and then off and back on again. We're back.
Sorry about that.
I mean, not your
power
fault.
went out here in Philo.
Yeah.
Mid-sentence. It knew that I was rambling on for way too long and said, we got to shut this down.
I think you were good. That was surprising, though. Our TV hasn't bounced back quite yet, but I think the Cubs are going to do just fine.
If I turn it back on and it's 13-10.
I think you'll be good. Well, we were discussing in the middle of high school recruiting, how big of a role it should play going forward. I think I agree with a lot of what you were saying as far as it would be surprising to see Brad want to have another class that has 4 or 5 guys. Now, I think there could be a special circumstance. You do have to consider now, like the late addition of Blake Fagbemi from Bennett Academy is part of your incoming class. So he joins Keaton Wagler, Brandon Lee. Could there be a situation where there's multiple players, whether it be an in you have like a Constanza or somewhere else, out east that Orlando has or whatever it might be, to get a couple of priority type of gets, guys that you feel like can move the needle right off the bat as high school players, and then maybe you backfill at the very end 1 or 2 more that might be, down the roster type of lottery tickets, or even just flat out, to be honest, practice players in some sense. Then you build a 4 or 5 man class. Like, yeah, I could see that. But in terms of trying to take spots that you can otherwise use through the portal or through Europe, and this is going to spin off into another thing, Kyle, that I saw, and I'm sure you probably caught wind of it as well, that I think is interesting. But if not only if you can go to Europe and get players, But if this is going to sustain where you can go get older players from Europe, there's even more options to fill your roster and get guys that can help you immediately, where high school players aren't physically ready in a lot of cases. Now, there are going to be some exceptions to that. I think Merez Johnson was an exception to that. But this is another, we could take this in a number of different directions. But Merez is a good example. And I know that anytime that something doesn't work out at a certain place, you're going to talk to people and people are going to be frustrated. And they were, extremely with the Merez thing. But it's kind of like, one coach is like, dude, should we even recruit high school players anymore? Like, we can put 3 years into them. They'll come in. They can contribute. And Merez obviously contributed last year. But it might be a situation where you get more of a proven player, more of a consistent player, whatever it might be in the portal. And even when it makes all the sense in the world for this to be a long-term relationship between Illinois and Merez Johnson, it doesn't turn out to be. So that's one of those where, and under Underwood, there have been a lot of examples. Jaden Epps, Adam Miller, on down the line. A lot of guys that it looked like even in their first year that they helped the team. They could have had a big role here pushing forward, and then there's that breakup. But I don't know. I think you got to weigh that. It's not going to drive everything, I think, in terms of your approach. But I think it's part of the equation, Kyle. And before I want to get you back in, is did you see that FIBA came out and said we want to find a way to provide more protections for the overseas teams to not lose players to the NCAA? Good luck with that, but I think that's something that obviously factors into what the future of roster building is as well.
That's never going to happen, right? What are they going to do? They're going to say,
what can you do?
Yeah, if you're in a perfect world from FIBA's perspective and all those teams overseas, they want to have the ability to block a player leaving their club. Not happening. That's never legally. And you'd have to have a two-sided agreement to make that happen. And
you have to get a contract.
From the player's perspective, why would you ever give up the opportunity to maybe come to a place like Illinois and make seven-figure money, or whatever the case may be, or just for the success that so many international players have now had, maybe you think, I got a better chance to go to the NBA going to college basketball, which is probably true in a lot of cases. So, but in general, I think, the high school recruiting piece of it, to me, I think you probably, if you're Illinois, your high school recruiting has to be shortened to guys that we know can help us immediately, like guys that we're investing in to be huge pieces as freshmen, the Will Rileys of the world, the Constanzas of the world, or I'd assume that he's a guy that's coming in starting, like day one, right. 5-star prospect, the Merez Johnsons of the world, even to a little bit of a lesser extent. Or the developmental guys where I'm not saying that Keaton Wagler and Brandon Lee might not just come here, not play for a year and leave. They might do that, but you'd have to imagine there's some understanding from both of those guys coming to Illinois. I'm probably not going to play that much as a freshman, and they know that right now. Does that guarantee that they'd come back next year and see the process through? No, nothing guarantees that anymore. But you'd have to imagine that Illinois, in adding those guys and signing those guys, throughout the recruiting process, there's been an understanding that they're coming in to develop, and it's probably going to be more of a year 2 situation than a year 1 with a chance to earn your way to play in year 1. So it's kind of like those two spectrums of we're going to get guys that are diamond in the rough guys or are not, super high NIL high school prospects that we evaluated, we really like, and we want to develop and kind of see what that looks like. Or a guy that we know, this is a 1-year investment, just like any other portal investment would be. And, this is a one and done, or this is a guy that's going to come in, be worth 7-figure money and be a star on our team. Those in-between guys, it's just, even Merez Johnson to an extent to where I'm sure you brought Merez in and obviously he played a big role, but it wasn't like he came in to be the Will Riley of the class or like a super featured guy or even a super high NIL guy as a freshman.
Yep.
And sure enough, there was kind of like a up and down to his role and his spot. He consistently played, but he started for some time and then Then he goes back to the bench, and there's some games where early in the year he played 8 minutes, and then he was playing 30 by the end of the year, and it's like, okay. And now there's some drama because they don't feel like he was used right and all that stuff. Those types of guys I don't think you can really invest in anymore because it's just not worth it. Like, I'm talking like the non-one-and-done 5-star prospects that you don't necessarily – you can't really promise them a star-level role, but you also – those guys are also going to expect to play and want to see results immediately, and if they don't, they'll probably leave. Like, I just like the Trent Frazier's of the world, even like just some guys like that. Like, do you even invest in anybody like that anymore?
Mm-hmm. That's a great question. I would love to know the answer. I don't want to assume it too much. We'd have to make guesses. Like, if we are in the current world and rewind the clock to Trent Frazier plays his freshman year, balls out on a bad team, is he in the portal right after that?
Probably.
There's a good chance, right? You would think.
Yeah, because that's the other side of it. It's not only just did he play or did he not play. I mean, you could play and leave. It's
yeah, right.
Like that's why I'm almost getting to the point of like, you know, it's a 1-year investment. This is a one and done guy, so he's leaving regardless. He's going to the NBA. Like the guys that aren't quite one and done NBA prospects, even if they come in and play some, probably leave if it's not enough for them, or even if someone just is like, well, we'll pay more money next year.
Right.
Why even invest in that? Just go get a senior from the portal. Go get an overseas guy that doesn't, wade in the portal waters really. He's coming for one school. He's older.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that lines up in a lot of senses with where Brad and this staff have gone, and a lot of others in terms of around the country. You heard Rick Pitino say something, was it during last season? Like, I'm not even interested in recruiting high school. And I understand it. Not to say that he won't ever take somebody from the high school ranks, but you can get a lot done in the portal. And if Europe's going to open up, and it's an entirely different ballgame, as we talked about previously. If Mihailo Petrovic and those guys of the world are available to come to college, like, it's even more. I wouldn't say game over for high school recruiting, but for some it will be, or if not all the way, pretty close. I do think there are going to be special exceptions when there is in-state talent. If there's another Ayo Dosunmu, if there's another Merez Johnson, whatever, the next, you look even at the 27 class. I know a lot of these guys now have ventured off to prep schools that aren't in the state anymore, but one of Jackson Davis, Davion Thompson, Devin Cleveland, who were all in that game today, Macker and Fire against Mean Streets. Getting one of those guys, if they continue to have the profile that they have, then yeah, that makes total sense. Even a Lincoln Williams, is he a low 4-star, high 3-star guy out of Kankakee that is really athletic? And I'm not saying he's going to turn into Terrence Shannon, but they've talked about him having some of those traits in terms of being that big wing, big guard that's just a super athlete. They like him a lot. They've recruited him hard, and I know the Illini fans know that whenever Lincoln comes to home games, Illinois hasn't won a lot of those. That's just kind of been a side plot on our message boards. But I think that aiming high is going to make sense. Aiming high for guys that will come in and be ready to compete and play, and the one-and-done caliber type. I think it's interesting, though. This is one thing I wanted to hit on. It's hard because of the market changing so much, where Will Riley and Kasparis, but let's use Will Riley. Will Riley getting $800,000 in that range to play one season at Illinois. And then you saw the market just explode, where if that's a year later, what is that number, Kyle? Is that $2 million? Was $800,000 last offseason, the new $200 million this offseason? I think that's probably right. Would you pay that?
$2 million, right? You said $200 million.
Did I say 200?
The second time you did.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Okay. 800,000.
If we start paying guys $200 million, I don't know if we'll have a sport anymore, but we might get there.
I'm not going to put anything past
We're on the way.
I don't know. Yeah, you're right. All right. Yes, $2 million this year was essentially $800,000 the year prior as far as the market is concerned. Would you pay that? Would you want to sign up for that with a freshman again? Like, I guess what I'm saying is,
was Will Riley worth $2 million last year? Was his output on the season worth $2 million? I don't really
for
know.
this upcoming, yeah.
If he was coming back, yes. Like, if it was last year, if the market had exploded to what it is today last offseason, and you were making that decision when Will Riley was making his decision last June, do we pay him $2 million instead of $800,000, your example? Do you think his season last year was $200 million worth of performance? I would say it wasn't.
You said 200 there.
Oh, I did?
$2 million.
Man,
I got it.
That's your fault.
Yes, it is.
I'm blaming you for that one.
Okay, so I think if we're saying last year's Will Riley is added this offseason, I think that, because we know where the market is. If saying it the other way, I think would make me compare it to like Coleman Hawkins and Gray Osobor, guys that got $2 million last year.
True.
Which even then, was Will Riley far off, or was he worse than those guys last year?
Definitely not. I mean, what did Gray Osobor do? His team won like 4 games.
Yeah. So, would he have been worth? That player would have been getting the same that Andrei Stojakovic pretty much got, or other guys in that range. That's where it calls into question. I think most coaches would tell you I would want the 21-year-old instead of the 18-year-old. And we saw inconsistency from Will Riley. Even he didn't play well in the Kentucky game. There were some big games throughout the course of a year where he looked like a freshman. I think that's part of where Brad pivoted this offseason. I know we're due for a break, where Dame Sarr versus can I get Stojakovic, which obviously ended up being Illinois' A1 guy, but Dame's really, really talented. But do I want to make my biggest add of the offseason, maybe even my most expensive guy, an 18, 19-year-old freshman? Some programs are comfortable with that, and if it's the right one, Cooper Flagg, AJ DeBonsta, then it's maybe a little bit different. But I don't know. I'd run it back with Will Riley if I could just would you want a freshman Will Riley on your team again for a decent chunk of money? I'd probably say yes.
For sure.
I think if you had some more trustworthy vets, maybe just a larger chunk of them, then you can get away with it. I wouldn't want it to be my highest paid guy, though.
It's more so when you have the options, like you said, which great example from this offseason for Illinois, 18, 19-year-old Dame Sarr or 21-year-old third year in college Andrei Stojakovic was a decision that Illinois kind of made, and they chose the older guy. Give me the older guy every time. Give me the Stojakovic over Sarr every time.
Yep.
Now, Stojakovic or, Cam Boozer or DeBonsta or Darren Peterson, give me the freshman because that guy is a top 5 pick, incredible talent. Like, there's a different level you can reach with younger guys where it's not just simply a matter of age. It's also the caliber of freshman it is. But that's really what it is, because it's subjective. The question I originally asked is subjective, and was Will Riley worth $2 million last year, was what he did last year. On the surface, you'd say no. Will Riley was very inconsistent. He had his great moments, had a great finish to the year. There was a stretch where he was playing like a $2 million guy, but he also,
about 6 weeks, right?
For about a month and a half, you've been like, I hope we're paying this guy nothing. He's contributing nothing. And that's what you expect from a freshman. But you could also look at it based on what happened last offseason. It's not like you had a bunch of options. Will Riley just became available in June. If you had $2 million, and that's what it cost to get a guy like Will Riley last year, and you had the $2 million, you gave it to Will Riley, you would have thought, boy, I'm glad we did that, because if we didn't go get Will Riley last offseason to round out that roster, does that team do anything? Could that team have missed the tournament without Will Riley's second half of the year? It's not out of the question.
Yes.
So in that case, you're saying, oh yeah, it was worth the $2 million we gave him, because if we didn't do that, we wouldn't have been anywhere near where we were because we didn't have the other option. But if you're just simply saying going forward, entering a March or an April period of trying to build a roster, is it worth going the freshman route if the older portal or international options are also available for similar money? count me in for the older, experienced guy every time, unless it's one of those transcendent prospects at the very top of a class, which you're probably not getting anyway, right? Unless
most likely,
maybe one time, but
yeah,
you're probably not getting the Darren Peterson, DeBonstas of the world.
Right. I mean, DeBonsta was what, like a $4 million player in terms of
might have been more. It was reported as more.
Yeah, I think you're right. I know that the overall number was more. Was that all of BYU's collective shelling that to him? The whole $7 million or whatever it was. It might have been.
I don't know how they do it. I mean, they got
the richest.
They got whatever money they want.
True. They just printing it over there in Monopoly land. I don't know. You're right. So yeah, as far as that goes, you're probably correct of Illinois not getting that guy, but you could still dip into the 5-star range, which you did with Will, and Kasparis, if he was in the United States, would have been a 5-star type of addition as well. So that's where that stands. But it is kind of it's always the feeling of a throwback back to high school recruiting. It will be interesting in terms of how much they prioritize this, what the class size will be. I think just in general, rule of thumb, a couple guys from the class, they'll swing high on a couple, and maybe someone like a Lincoln Williams from in-state or whatever it might be, maybe can complement one or two other pieces. But I don't know. It's an ever-evolving thing. And again, I think the future of being able to go get guys from the overseas market, especially the older ones, if that avenue is wide open, why not do that every year? Because you're expected to win every year. You don't have time to say, well, we're gonna develop, we're gonna have growing pains. Those guys may have those growing pains and may just leave you. So 217-359-2255, Max Twin City Recycling text line. If you want to weigh in, back. This is The Drive.
Switching is easy. We do it all the time. We switch on the lights. We switch TV channels. Some of us switch partners while square dancing. Well, that's a stretch. But what's not a stretch is how you can switch and save with State Farm. In fact, State Farm agent Kurt Lenschow right here in Champaign-Urbana can switch you over so you can start saving today. Kurt and his team are ready to welcome you to the State Farm neighborhood. It's easy to switch and save. Just give them a call when you want the real deal. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
I was born in Louisiana.
July of 1936, the world welcomed George Buddy Guy.
What a guy that is.
Now, after live performances spanning generations, the legend says goodbye. Buddy Guy, the Damn Right Encore. June 24th, the Virginia Theater. Special guest, Taj Farrant. Tickets on sale now at thevirginia.org. From the Damn Right Farewell Tour comes the Damn Right Encore. Buddy Guy, live.
It's dollar stretching season at Brock. Now's the time to get an outstanding deal on Brock's full line of storage, conditioning, handling, and structure products for your grain. As an authorized independent Brock dealer, Paul's in Villa Grove can help you stretch your hard-earned dollars while providing a proven Brock system that offers greater quality and value. Don't delay. The earlier you buy, the better the pricing. See Paul's today. These deals won't last long. PaulsMachine.com.
Racing. Farmer City Raceway is your local award-winning dirt track with exciting Friday night lights illuminating the late models and modifieds going for the checkered flag for the win. Make arrangements to get in on the camping with great price points for pit passes and young fans, as well as veterans. Friday nights, the hot laps start at 6:30, then qualifying and racing action. Don't miss out on the fun at Farmer City Raceway. For details, visit FarmerCityRacing.com. You'll buy the whole seat, but you'll only need the edge.
Fighting Illini fans, your Illinois football team is coming off a 10-win season as Citrus Bowl champs. This fall, Illinois returns 18 starters from the Citrus Bowl victory, including star quarterback Luke Altmaier for a third straight season. Led by head coach Brett Bielema, the Fighting Illini are listed on nearly every major top 25 ranking for the 2025 season. Stay up to date on all things Fighting Illini football at fightingillini.com. We can't wait to see you back in Memorial Stadium this fall.
Hey, where are you headed?
To Kelsey Furniture in Tuscola.
What do they have there?
What don't they have there? Living room furniture, benches, chests, love seats, sectionals, tables, bedroom sets, hutches, nightstands, end tables, cabinets, mirrors, stools, clocks, lamps, pillows, rugs, desks, media consoles, patio furniture, Tempur-Pedic mattresses, and more.
So, everything.
Yeah, probably could have just said that.
Kelsey Furniture, quality for less. From computer systems to brakes and tires too, at PDR, fixing cars is what they do. Remember, when you turn the key and the car won't run, call 367-9481 or use their dedicated text-only line at 383-0619. Additional information including repair quotes and online scheduling requests available from the website at pdrauto.com. Remember, they are what's best for your truck or car. They are PDR.
The best time to save is now at Carpet Weavers during National Karastan Month. Save with rebates up to $1,000 on Karastan carpets and floors. Beautiful carpets, gorgeous luxury vinyl flooring. You simply can't miss out on this sale. Plus, take advantage of instant rebates on all furniture too. Save $250 on every $1,000 you spend. All with free financing for 2 years. Don't miss National Karastan Month, going on now at Carpet Weavers Flooring and Furniture Gallery.
If you want a hand-cut, perfectly cooked filet, there's only one place to get it. The Long Branch Steakhouse in downtown Gifford. Customers rave about Donnie's fillets. So tender that you can cut it with your fork. Don't go to an ordinary steakhouse. Choose Long Branch and have it your way. Join the many people who know that it's worth the trip. The Long Branch Steakhouse in beautiful downtown Gifford. And remember, there's always room for Long Branch.
Crystal Lake Park Family Aquatic Center opens May 24th. Open 7 days a week, 12:30 p.m. on weekdays and 11 a.m. on weekends. Lap swim is Monday through Friday, 6 to 11 a.m. Check out pool memberships and punch cards for extra savings, and be on the lookout for special days and promotions at the pool. For more information, call 217-367-1544 or visit urbanaparks.org. Urbana Park District. You belong here.
Back on the Drive with Dan Piper, ESPN Radio 93.5. I wanted to run this by you, Kyle. I was scrolling through social media a few days ago, and there was a list of the top 5 quarterbacks in the Big Ten done by 24/7 Sports. Bud Elliott and Smoke Dixon, two guys that each came up with their own top 5s there on 24/7. By the way, I dabbled around last night on NCAA college football with Illinois. I shouldn't even mention this, not one to write home about. I did Illinois at Indiana. I was down by 2 scores at half, and I quit. So, against the computer, Heisman, I'm not trying to brag here or out myself too much. Just kind of messing around like, I'll throw it on the game for a little bit. Let's play with Illinois. I got to brush up on that.
Good news is I don't think your play will be a reflection of Illinois' play. If it was the case, for me, Luke Altmaier would lead the nation in interceptions by a mile this year.
I threw a couple.
If it was me playing the game,
that can be a problem, no doubt about that. And we talked about, you and I last night. We were talking, man, how big of a swing game that is. Illinois at Indiana next season. I can't wait for that one. I'm excited. You do see Luke Altmaier. You also see new Hoosiers quarterback Fernando Mendoza, a transfer from Cal, on one of these lists, and let's just get to them. I want to get your reaction here. So, Bud Elliott.
Start reading quarterbacks, and then I'll start speaking when I hear a quarterback that Luke Altmaier is absolutely better than.
Good deal. Bud Elliott does his top 5. You want to start at the top or the bottom? Let's go. Okay. Drew Aller, number 1. Both guys have Drew Aller, number 1. I don't think anybody's arguing that. He's going to be considered a top 5 to 10, probably 10 to be safe, quarterback nationally going into next year. Had a really nice season last season. Now, this is where I think it gets really interesting after number 1. I think you could argue Altmaier is as high as number 2 and make a really good case for it. Is it Damon Williams?
Who?
Damon Williams from Washington.
Who?
Yeah. Was a freshman last year. 8 touchdowns on 105 passing attempts, threw for less than 1,000 yards. I don't know how many games he competed in.
Those had to be garbage time of blowouts, huh?
I'm guessing he was a highly touted recruit that got a little bit of run last year and will get the starting job this year. But that's who Bud Elliott has number 2.
Okay, he was a 4-star prospect.
Okay.
25th overall quarterback in the 2024 class.
Still rather unproven based on the stats. And the guy that didn't watch much Washington
Luke
football last year.
Altmaier is going to be better than him this year.
Okay.
Move on to the next.
Fernando Mendoza, number 3.
Luke Altmaier's better. I mean, what did I know College Game Day went to Cal last year because they had nowhere else to go. Miami was undefeated. They're like, well, we'll go to Cal for the first time, even though that Cal team's awful. They could not have possibly made a bowl game with Fernando Mendoza at quarterback. Yeah, no thanks.
16 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 3,000 yards, QBR of 63.8. That was 55th nationally. I have to be reminded, I'll pull this up, where Luke Altmaier was ESPN's total QBR, 45th nationally. So he had a better QBR than Mendoza last year. All right, let's go on to the next one. Bud Elliott has Luke Altmaier number 4. Next, Dylan Raiola, number 5.
That's an interesting one because I do think, to be fair to Raiola, I think he could have a huge breakout season in his second year. He's as you saw when Illinois played Nebraska, the dude is super talented. Like, some of the throws he made just in that game were really, really impressive. Was the number 1 quarterback in the class last year, if I remember correctly. I wouldn't really push back all that much if you have Raiola ahead of Altmaier. But I think Altmaier could be better and was better last year than him.
And you'd say won the head-to-head matchup as well.
That's very true. So I also would not argue it all the other way if Luke Altmaier was ahead. I don't have as much of a problem with that one because I think there is kind of a ceiling to what Luke is as a quarterback, whereas if there's just a pretty normal jump for a second-year quarterback in Raiola with his talent level, I think he could explode. There's the potential for that.
No doubt about it. If you liked Bud Elliott's list, you're gonna love Smoke Dixon's list.
Oh boy!
To be honest, and I'm a 24/7 guy, I had never heard of Smoke Dixon. Apparently, former cornerback. Oh, lights flickering here, so if you lose this, you lose this. But now working for the mothership there, 24/7. All right, Drew Aller, number 1. Nico Iamaleava, number 2. UCLA. Transfer from Tennessee, of course.
He wasn't good last year. That Tennessee team was good. I watched some Tennessee football, wasn't impressed.
Yeah, the big moments, the big primetime games that Tennessee had, he did not show up and do all that much. And it's not like he didn't have some talent at the receiver positions. Good system with Josh Heupel. And Nico was an insanely highly rated recruit, like maybe the highest quarterback in his class, 5-star. And not to say that he won't. He was, a redshirt freshman last year? Not to say he won't.
Similar to Raiola, I think.
Pan out.
You could project him taking a nice little jump. Of course, now he's going to a completely new system. I would take Altmaier over Nico next year.
Number 3, Bryce Underwood, Michigan.
I can't really argue with that one because he's incredible.
Yeah, right?
He's an incredible prospect. Michigan gave him, $10 million?
Yep.
For a reason. I mean, that's how good of a prospect he is. Now he's going to be a true freshman.
Right.
As we saw with Raiola, who was also an unbelievable prospect. Ups and downs as a true freshman, as we saw with Nico. I don't think it's crazy to say Luke Altmaier will have a better season than Bryce Underwood next year. I don't know if I can angrily get in a shouting match with you if you think Underwood is one spot higher because the dude is a freak and is probably going to have a chance to be the number 1 pick in the draft in 3 years. But I also do think that it's very plausible that Luke's better than him next year. Next year, isolated, Altmaier the better quarterback.
I think that's a very fair take. You mentioned Bryce Underwood is ridiculously talented. You don't throw that money at him and get Larry Ellison involved if he's not a special type of talent going to Ann Arbor. On the note of really talented, now I think there'd be a different level based on the rankings, but really talented incoming freshman, Smoke goes with Malik Washington, freshman from Maryland, number 4. I looked him up. He was the number 54 overall prospect in the 2025 class, number 5 overall quarterback, 6'4", 215, coming in as a true freshman this year.
Give me Altmaier easily there.
Yeah.
To me, I kind of look at it as Aller number 1 should be probably consensus. And then it's kind of those 3 5-star guys that are in, 2 of them in their second year, 1 of them as a freshman, Underwood, Raiola, Nico, that I can't be too angry if you put those guys ahead of Altmaier. However, I also think it's very realistic to say Altmaier should be thought of preseason higher than all 3 of them based on the season that he had last year is better than anything any of those 3 have done in college. But anybody after those 3 ahead of Altmaier, I have a problem with.
Yeah.
Altmaier, I think, is the most proven guy beyond Aller in the Big Ten. It's just a matter of if you're buying a big leap out of the unquestionably super talented future NFL guys or not, which I think there'll be opinions that vary. So I kind of look at it as those 3. If you want to rank those guys 2 through 4, Altmaier 5, I'm not going to be all that upset. I also think Altmaier has an argument to be above all 3 of those guys. Beyond that group of 4 quarterbacks, I have a problem with anybody else being ahead of Luke.
Yeah, absolutely. At least we're not in an off. Like last offseason that he got on a 24/7 list? He was like 17th out of 18.
Yeah.
Ethan Callie McManus was ahead of him. We don't got to deal with that anymore, I don't think. If you were to put like Aiden Childs over him, Aiden Childs, a talented player at Michigan State, but did not produce last year.
He was a disaster.
Yeah, he threw a ton of
as
picks.
a freshman.
And I guess the question, I know we're due for a break. The question is, and I'll say this quickly. Why are we still in a world where Luke's getting disrespected? I do think there's going to be a big difference between you're in a world with Pat Bryant and Zachary Franklin to you're in a world now with, not having those guys and not having restocked that room with like no doubt. Like Zachary coming in was, if he's going to be healthy, he's going to be a really, really proven and productive player. So Hudson Clement from West Virginia, I know he's a nice player. You get Justin Bowick from Ball State, right? We'll see. The flip side, though, I want to say this really quick. I read an athletic piece recently. Scott Docterman's been covering the Big Ten, notably Iowa, but now covers the Big Ten for The Athletic. And he noted, I've seen mentioned a couple of other times, as like Altmaier as a somewhere on the radar Heisman candidate. I don't see it.
I don't either.
It's too much.
Yeah. I
think with the turnover at wide receiver, like, I just don't think that's going to happen. I think there are some people who downplay how much Illinois will and did throw the ball or will throw the ball going forward. They think Bielema ground and pound, that type of thing. But I just don't see that being a possibility, a real one at least.
I agree with you.
All right, let's take one more break, come back, toast one, send Kyle out for the summer, and wrap up the show. It is The Drive.
At F&B Wealth Management, it's not just about numbers, it's about people and communities. Hi, I'm Ryan Heiser, President and CEO of Fisher National Bank and F&B Wealth Management. Our team is united by a shared passion for helping you achieve your financial goals. We are equipped and eager to work together to craft personalized financial solutions just for you, including retirement planning, risk management through life insurance, long-term care insurance planning, and investment advisory services. Together, we will celebrate milestones, navigate life's transitions, and build a financial future that reflects your values. Experience the difference of a team that truly cares. Visit investwithfnb.com to learn more about dedicated advisors and start your journey toward a financial confidence today.
F&B Wealth Management is a division of Fisher National Bank. F&B securities are not insured by the FDIC, not a deposit or other obligation of or guaranteed by the depository institution. Subject to investment risks, including possible loss of the principal amount invested. Securities, insurance, and investment advisory services are offered through Midwestern Securities Trading Company, LLC, MSTC. Member FINRA, SIPC. MSTC and F&B are not affiliated.
F&B Wealth Management, supporting exceptional communities full of exceptional people.
Next week on an all-new Law and Order.
Order! We convene here for case 217, Spring Green versus Weeds. Spring Green, the floor is yours.
The weeds are infectious. The weeds steal the beauty from your lawn. We offer personalized lawn care, a mid-season checkup, and a simple and transparent process. Just click on to spring-green.com for a quote.
Okay, Spring Green wins. Weeds, you're out.
That's spring-green.com.
We're talking to John Reichert from A&R Mechanical. 100 years in our community. So many buildings in this town, like Memorial Stadium. Of course, the State Farm Center. Can you remember the reaction from the company getting that? Because that's a big one.
Oh, that was huge. If you just think about it a little bit, everything we put in is straight, pipe is straight. We're putting all that into a round building. And, it took a lot of know-how to make that project happen. It was one of the first projects we did using our new technologies. And the timing was just right. We were the right people for that project, and I think we did it successfully.
The legacy of A&R. John, I could almost say, what haven't you built? Up and down campus, the Siebel Center was fairly new for computer science.
Everybody was working as a team, and I think it came out very well.
A&R Mechanical has helped build Carl at the Fields expansion and other Carl projects in Provena and Sarah Bush Lincoln. The list goes on and on. Visit them at ar-mech.com.
Ready to level up your career and score a big prize? Express Employment Professionals is hiring. Interview with them for any of their open positions, and you'll have a chance to win a 55-inch Vizio 4K TV. But wait, there's more. Refer a skilled trades friend to them and earn $200 once they work 40 hours. Apply now by visiting expresspros.com/champagneil or call 217-355-8500.
Take charge of the years ahead with a smart, sound investment strategy and business succession plan. Busey Bank's business and wealth management experts help you envision your best future with powerful insights and proven strategies. Building business and growing wealth since 1868, Busey Bank, proud to be the official bank of the Fighting Illini. Member FDIC.
Sarah Champagne Managing Partner Ben Quattrone on why integrity is important at Sarah.
We hire the person. The person makes the deal. The person makes the department. The person makes everyone around them treat people with courtesy and respect. If you have a quality human being, you can play any position, right? We're talking about sports. They can perform in any department, and I could teach someone a job, but I can't teach them to be a good person.
Learn more at sarahchampagne.com. That's SERRA champagne.com.
Finishing up on the drive with Sam Piper, ESPN Radio 93.5. During the break, I got a warning for a dust storm. Didn't know we could have those around here.
We living in the Wild West or what?
We did talk about Arizona and golfing last night, Kyle, when we were having some dinner, and I must have brought it on, I guess.
That's about the only place that I've ever seen a dust storm.
Right. You want to hit us with a home run guy on the way out?
I don't know if I placed one today. I have to remember. I got hot last weekend, and now this week I've struck out.
I was thinking we got some cool matchups. It's almost like they did rivalry week to an extent in the MLB. You got a lot of the close proximity. You got the Reds playing the Guardians and Yankees and Mets. Obviously the Chicago series, Royals and Cardinals. I think the Yankees and Mets is be a series I'll definitely be tuning into. Rodon on the hill tonight. Pete Alonso maybe taking deep. Lefty, righty. Speaking of which, Chris Sale going against the Red Sox back in Boston. Kind of like Alex Bregman. He's been off to a super hot start. I think he's got 11 bombs to date and enjoying the short left porch there, all of which he had that in Houston as well. So just dabbling a little bit on that. Anything stand out to you?
I think I'm going to go James Wood.
James Wood.
I'm fading the Orioles pitching staff.
Cade Povich stinks. It's lefty, but why not?
Yeah, I'm in on that.
Sounds good. All right. Let's I did not leave you near enough time, but can you fill us in on where you'll be this summer? I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'll be interning for the Rockford Rivets baseball organization, which is a member of the Northwoods League, which is a league that I know a lot of college players play at. It's kind of like a summer league for college players, and I'm going to be doing some journalism, digital content stuff for them over the summer, hanging out at the ballpark during all their home games, and that should be a lot of fun. So I'm excited about that, and being around baseball for the summer I wouldn't have it any other way.
Can't complain about that, no doubt. 651 says, have a great summer. We're going to wish you, obviously, well over the next couple of months. We don't have to say goodbye to you.